Hello, I'm Sim Tak, a global analyst at Stratfor, a Rain company. This podcast is brought to you by Stratfor Worldview, Rain's premier digital publication for objective geopolitical intelligence and analysis. Special subscription rates for podcast listeners can be found at stratfor.com/podcast offer.
Welcome to the Essential Geopolitics podcast from Stratfor, a Rain company. I'm Emily Donahue. Today I'm speaking with Ben West, Senior Global Security Analyst, about an attack that happened in France recently. A teacher was beheaded. Ben, what exactly happened?
Well, so on Friday, October 16th, a teacher from a town just northwest of Paris was leaving the school, and an 18-year-old assailant followed him, stabbed him to death, decapitated him, as you said, and then put the images of the attack online as a way to essentially punish the teacher for showing images, cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad earlier to his class.
So did this young person act alone, or was he part of a larger group?
As of now, all indications point to the fact that he acted alone. Police have arrested and detained at least 15 people. They've gone through the attacker's belongings and files, and no indication as of yet that there was a bigger plot, that there were other people involved. However, this in Europe in general, over the past 3 years, European governments' security forces have gone to great lengths to dismantle transnational networks and make it harder for groups to organize and carry out attacks. And so what that means is that really since 2017, any kind of jihadist or radical Islamist attack we've seen in Europe has been the act of individuals. The implications for this is that individual attacks carried out by individuals are harder to detect sometimes, but it also limits the scope of the attack and the operational tempo of attacks. So in this case, this person was only able to kill one other person, and is now, police responded and shot and killed the attacker. So he will not be able to attack again.
My understanding, though, is that the fact that this teacher showed a cartoon or cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad essentially targeted him broadly. Didn't a similar thing happen with the attack on the Charlie Hebdo?
So yeah, there is a lot of background and a lot of context around this attack. It certainly did not happen in a vacuum. First, it's happening amidst the trial for the 2015 attack on the Charlie Hebdo offices that killed 12 people. So that issue, that incident, is back up at the forefront of French discussions and news. And that's one of the reasons why the teacher showed the cartoons, I think, was to kind of give context and his effort to show what the debate was about. We can never underestimate the power of these cartoons. And going back to 2005, when we started seeing these cartoons coming out in European publications, we have seen strings of attacks, campaigns to attack, for example, Danish embassy in Pakistan. We've seen numerous attacks on the newspapers or journalists or cartoonists who have been behind the cartoons. And then, of course, culminating in 2015 with two men carrying out an armed attack on the Charlie Hebdo offices that killed 12 people. There's been, I would say, maybe a 5-year dormancy in this issue, but with the start of the trial, all the attention that's brought to the issue, we're seeing it come back to the forefront. And really, the Muhammad cartoon issue, it's one of the more enduring grievances that you see with the jihadist movement over the past 20 years.
So what can we expect to see in the coming months?
First of all, the trial is still ongoing. There's no expectation that will end before November. So we'd likely be getting verdicts and potentially sentences for the individuals involved in November. That will be a kind of an inflection point to watch for this. And depending on how it ends, potentially seeing anger, lashing out, potential for more attacks in that context. Also, when we've seen this issue come up in the past and attacks arise because of it, there's usually a backlash, especially in France, where you see the kind of secularist, pro-free speech advocates come out and double down and really show more of these cartoons as a way to demonstrate that they are not intimidated by violence. So I think we'll probably see more incidents of people showing cartoons in a provocative way. And then, of course, that brings the risk of retaliatory attack. Finally, the other side of the coin is there is certainly an Islamophobic, xenophobic, nationalist threat in France, where we've seen individuals and groups attack or attempt to attack mosques or Muslim individuals. And I think we certainly need to keep in mind that there could be retaliatory attacks on the French Muslim community too in response to this attack.
Ben West is a senior global security analyst for Stratfor, a RAIN company. You can read his analysis of this situation and Stratfor's security intelligence with a subscription to Stratfor Worldview. Check out the special offer for podcast listeners at stratfor.com/podcast offer. That's all one word, stratfor.com/podcast offer. I'm Emily Donahue. Thanks for listening.